From the very first day of ninth grade honors English, I knew Mrs. S. didn't like me. She wasn't just frustrated when I slacked off like other teachers sometimes were. No, she genuinely disliked me as a person. And the reason? Simple. I was an athlete. I played 3 sports, which meant missing some classes for away games. But I also missed class for academic competitions, math contests, quiz bowls, science tournaments. You'd think a teacher would respect that. Not her. She despised athletes, and she made sure everyone knew it. Her petty revenge started small. She doubled the homework load whenever we had long away games, clearly designed so the athletes would never be able to finish. And guess when she always decided to check homework? Yep, right after those away games. But that was only the beginning. 2. The unfair grading. Then came the grades. I'd spend hours writing papers, and somehow they always came back with 70s or low 80s. No comments, no feedback, no red marks, nothing. Meanwhile, students around me got 90s, even though their papers were covered in corrections. Finally, I confronted her. I asked, "Why is my paper graded lower if there aren't even corrections?" Her response still makes my blood boil. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Because you're only working at 70% of your ultimate capability. Other students are at 90% of theirs." Couldn't believe it. So I asked, "Wait, so my paper could literally be better than someone else's, but you'll still give me a lower grade?" And she just said, "Yes." The craziest part? She had previously recommended me for an advanced writing class a year earlier than normal students could take it. She knew I was a strong writer. She just didn't care. 3. The Antigone assignment disaster. Toward the end of the year, she offered an extra credit assignment. Attend a local college's play of Antigone, write a 2,500-word essay connecting it to our class discussions, and turn in the ticket and playbill. Why? Monday, I went to my competition, placed first in one event and second in another. Tuesday, I showed up at 7 a.m. before basketball workouts, paper in hand, ready to turn it in, and she refused to accept it. Suddenly, she didn't recall ever giving me permission. She said it was late, and therefore earned 0 credit. Her excuses were insane. 1. Another student who lived across the street had managed to drop theirs off Monday. 2. My mom, who was a teacher herself, could have turned it in. Never mind that she was teaching her own classes. 3. I could have written the paper Monday evening, which wouldn't be fair to others. When I showed her the file metadata proving I finished on Saturday, she didn't care. No credit. I lost the time, the $25 ticket, and my mom's effort running me back and forth. At that point, I was beyond furious. But I kept it bottled up, waiting. 4. The final exam. Mrs. S loved bragging that no one had ever scored an A on her final. She thought of herself as some academic gatekeeper, when really, she just buried students in busy work. On the last day, she gave us a few minutes and asked, "What's your biggest wish?" Couldn't resist. I said, "I wish for an A on the exam." Her response? She smirked and said, "Yeah, and I wish for $1 million, and not to have to deal with you anymore." That was it. The last straw. The final exam was 100 questions plus a 5-point bonus essay. What was your favorite part of the class? What did you learn? I finished the 100 questions in 20 minutes, then spent the rest of the hour unloading years of frustration into that bonus essay. I wrote, I didn't learn anything, since she never gave feedback. My favorite part of the class was it finally being over. She was the worst teacher I'd ever had, and the school was worse off with her teaching every 9th grader. I didn't hold back. When the bell rang, I turned it in and walked out, the only student out of 110 who finished at the hour mark. She thought she'd get the last laugh. A few days before grades were due, one of my old assignments mysteriously dropped 10 points in the system. My final grade was a 94.4 AB at the time. I knew she had altered it, but couldn't prove it. But karma has a funny way of catching up. That summer, the school switched to a 10-point grading scale, meaning 90 and above was an A. My B became an A anyway. Even better? From then on, she had to get her weekly homework assignments signed off by the department chair. Start accepting assignments by email. And 2 years later, she was fired after more students came forward with serious complaints. The administration finally realized she wasn't a tough teacher. She was just cruel. She had spent years making students miserable. And in the end, she lost everything. Climactic revenge payoff 1 minute. So, did I plan to get her fired? No. But standing up to her, exposing her unfairness, and proving her wrong on her so-called impossible exam, that was the first crack in her armor. And watching the system finally catch up to her, knowing she couldn't bully students anymore, that was the sweetest revenge of all. Reflective wrap-up, 20 seconds. You know, people say, what goes around comes around. And in this case, it really did. She tried to ruin my confidence, my grades, even my reputation. But in the end, she ruined herself. Outro call to action, 20 seconds. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button right now. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had a teacher, boss, or authority figure who just seemed to have it out for you? I'd love to hear your stories. And of course, subscribe for more true Reddit revenge stories where justice always finds a way. White heavy checkmark word count. 960 is almost equal to 12 minutes narrated at a natural YouTube pace.